What is the single most important day in surviving any given college class? Your midterm? Your final exam? In my experience, it's the first day of class that sets some students up for success and others for utter failure. You can try to make it up, you can try to catch up, but missing out on that first day can leave you in the dust. Let's talk it through here with Metalhead Mentor. Hello there, and welcome to Metalhead Mentor. I am your host and assistant professor of the dark arts, Tony, and this is my fuzzy teaching assistant, Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley Wolves. In this episode, we'll be discussing how to survive the first day of class in any course, whether you're a well-seasoned senior or some fresh meat. The first day of a college class has traditionally been spent on the professor passing out the syllabus and droning through all of their policies and assignments for the course. Because of how boring this is, many students choose to skip the first day. Recently, though, it's become more common for professors to use the first day of class to jump into content, whether that means a lecture, an icebreaker activity, or even a test. For example, I do an icebreaker activity in my class that leads into the topic we'll be discussing for the first 2 weeks of the course. While some instructors might still read the syllabus in excruciating detail, it is no longer a safe bet that you can skip the first day of class. Whether this is your first college class ever, or you're starting the seminar for your senior thesis, how can you make the most of your first day of class? First of all, don't skip the first day of class for any course you're in. Skipping has become more common for students in recent years. While some miss because of valid and unavoidable issues like illness, a startling number of students are choosing to miss the first day of class for honestly terrible reasons, including vacations. If you want to guarantee your professor won't take you seriously or have any sympathy for you throughout the course, tell them you missed their class to go to Cancun, like one of my students did a few years ago. By the time she finally joined the class a week late, she was already so behind that she never actually managed to catch up. Aside from missing out on information, you don't want to miss the first day of class because most colleges have policies that mean you might get dropped from the course if you miss too many classes the first few weeks. Some even allow students to be dropped just from missing the first day. Ironically, you might need to go to the first day of class to know what kind of policy is in place for your class. So, you might as well go. I should note, in my experience, the vast majority of students who miss the first day of class end up failing the course. In my case, it's not just because they can't catch up in the course after missing that one day. Instead, it's usually more reflective of the low priority those students place on the course and on their education. Skipping the first day of class alone may not be what causes you to fail a course, but it could be the first sign that you might not be prepared to take a college course at that time. Now that you've made the good choice that you're going to be going to the first class in the course, how do you prepare for that? Before going to class, check out what resources have been posted for the course, especially in the learning management system like Canvas or Blackboard. These days, most schools require instructors to post the syllabus prior to the start of a semester, and at least skimming the syllabus should give you a sense of what the course is about and what the instructor expects. Sometimes, professors might have activities for students to complete prior to the first day of class. This might include specific readings or even small assignments. If you see something due before the first class, try to complete it on time as it may be used during that first session, and otherwise you just don't want to start off behind. In my own first college class ever, we were expected to have read about 25 pages of a book so we could write an in-class essay that day. While you're at it, check out what the syllabus says about the first session. It might be generic like mine and say course intro, but some professors will give you more detail to look ahead to. When you look over the syllabus, note any textbooks or other supplies that are required for the course and try to gather them before the course begins. Having the textbook the first day of class could come in handy. Other supplies may be needed throughout the semester, but if the syllabus says to bring something specific that day, make sure it's in your bag, along with your preferred note-taking materials like your tablet or a pen and notebook. During the first day of class, obviously pay attention and engage with what's going on in the lesson. But there are some things you should look out for during that first session specifically. Listen in for any important class policies. These could be policies related to accommodations, academic dishonesty, turning assignments in late, or making up missed exams. Even with institutional policies, it's often the case that different professors will have their own interpretation of what a policy means. Like at my college, where we can't decide what the required final exam activity actually looks like. Use this opportunity to figure out what this professor means by this policy in this course. Pay attention to any major assignments or exams and how your instructor explains them. Often, instructors may only explain a major assignment once, and if you miss out, you're SOL. If you are given any due dates, make sure to write them down in your planner, task app, or calendar so you can plan your schoolwork. Some professors, like yours truly, will take some time to answer questions and provide tips and tricks for how to succeed in their class. One trick many of us have started to use is to provide an easy extra credit opportunity on the first day of class, or one that's buried in the syllabus, like emailing the professor a picture of a cute puppy for a couple of bonus points. It may not be worth much, but when your grade is teetering at 89.4% during finals, you'll be glad for any extra credit you have then. Finally, pay attention and engage fully in the lesson to get a sense of the professor's teaching style and the format of the class. You may still be able to switch out of this professor's course into another one if you don't like their style, but you usually only have a few days to do that, so act fast. Beyond just the lesson in the first day of class, keep your eyes peeled for two battle buddies. Research shows that students who interact with at least one other student in the first day of class are far more likely to return the next day than students who only interacted with the professor. Introducing yourself to another student creates a feeling of accountability. If the only person you interact with is the professor, they're the only one who might notice you're not in class the next day. But if you talk to a classmate, they'll definitely notice that you're not there. Establish that accountability for yourself by striking up a conversation with two of your classmates. You might have met them already, or you might be strangers to each other, but by introducing yourselves, you automatically become battle buddies for the course to ensure you all make it through the semester. After all, you don't want to be the only battle buddy not there the day of the final exam. Let's say you do have a valid and unavoidable issue that keeps you from attending the first day of a class. How can you catch up from there? First of all, the pressure is on you to do it, not your professor. Your professor taught the class, even with you absent, so don't expect them to teach it again just for you. Just like you would prepare for the first day of class normally, read through the syllabus, check out the course shell in the LMS, and inform yourself of what you likely missed. Then, see if you know anyone who was in the class that day. Ask if you can copy their notes or any handouts that were passed out in class. Check with them on what the professor said, especially about the syllabus or assignments. Again, your absence is not your classmates' problem, so make it as easy as possible for them to help you. Finally, once you've followed through on the previous two steps, reach out to the professor as soon as you can to explain that you will not be in class. Obviously, if you get sick, you may not know until the morning of class that you won't be there. But the earlier notice you can give your professor, the more options they may have in how to handle it. For example, I had a student who contacted me the day before class to tell me she had just tested positive for COVID-19. Because she reached me early enough, I was able to bring my laptop and my big mic to record the day's session for her. Before contacting your professor, Try to find out what you missed on your own, and when you contact them, start by explaining what you already know you missed, based on the syllabus and other resources, and then ask if there was anything further you missed and can make up. Again, your absence is not your professor's problem. It's yours. Make it as easy as possible to help you catch up. And if you did skip class for some ridiculous reason like a vacation, keep that to yourself. There is no scenario where volunteering that information will have any positive result for you. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Metalhead Mentor. If you haven't already, smash those like, subscribe, and share buttons below to spread the word and earn some extra credit. Don't forget to do your take-home torture, go to your first day of class so you can get ahead in the course, and find your 2 battle buddies. Next episode, we'll be discussing how to read a syllabus. The reading may be dry and boring, but your grade in that course will live and die by that piece of paper.